What's up, friends? I'm here at the International Game Fish Association on a lovely gray 4th of July. Hope you're having a fabulous holiday with or without the fireworks. I am at Bass Pro in Miami. I'm going to try to get this video knocked out before I get soaked. It looks like it's about to start pouring in a few minutes here. So today we're going to have a nice discussion about what is the best LLC location state for you. So this is kind of a trick question, and there's really no right answer for this. Generally speaking, let's dive into it. The best state for a company is where you live, more or less. All right, even a crappy state like California or New York, if you have a retail location, if you have an office there, then any other state you form your company in, you're gonna have to qualify in your home state. Therefore, you're paying double, and there's no point in doing that, so just do it in your home state and get it over with. So that's it. All right, now, if you've got a virtual business with no particular domicile as far as office, a storefront, nothing like that, if it's, you know, you can run it anywhere, then that's another tricky question, because a single LLC probably isn't going to do it unless you've got a really low risk, low liability business which will not have any substantial assets, and you just need an LLC as a front to look professional. Then yeah, we can do a single LLC, we can get that done, and that'll take care of business for you, and you don't have to worry about it. But if you're going to have a real business with significant assets, with hard assets, soft assets, you're going to have intellectual property, you're going to have equipment, you're going to have a vehicle, you're going to have real estate, anything like that, a single LLC is just not going to do it for you. So I hate to break it to you. So basically, I rarely recommend a single LLC structure. It's going to be a multi-LLC situation for most companies, just so you understand this. And in the extreme situations, we're going to have an offshore structure type also. So an offshore company will own onshore at least one or two LLCs, and that will provide really the most significant amount of asset protection for high-risk ventures with a large amount of assets. Now, another thing you want to be aware of is where the bank account is located. All right, so you got the LLC, state of registration, state of formation. All right, you got the bank account, and you got the address, the business address. So generally, that needs to be structured to provide the maximum amount of protection. So that means if there's multiple LLCs for the business, you don't mix the address, so one address can link to another of your LLCs, so you got to be careful with that. And bank accounts, if you have multiple management companies, you don't want to have the same bank account for multiple management companies, which is a structure that I use, generally speaking. It'll have management companies, holding companies, that kind of thing. It's a little more complicated than a single LLC. So that is a stage where you want to engage a professional to understand how to form bank accounts so as to provide for maximum protection and minimum risk exposure. All right. So, having said that, let's dive into the meat. Let's talk about the states. What are the best states? Let me say that some states are extremely aggressive in their taxation, such as California, New York, Illinois, etc. So you got to be very careful. If you have an out-of-state company, some of these states may come after you for the tax, even if you have no office, no business in your particular state, the ones I mentioned. Some others are highly aggressive. They might come after you as well. So not really favorable climate for business, but they're desperate, they're broke, they need money, and they will try to come after you for taxes. All right, even if you have no office there. If you have a few clients in your particular state, let's say California is very aggressive, they'll try to tax you that $800 tax for an LLC, even if you have very few clients there. If you have no retail, no address, nothing, they don't care. They think they can reach out and grab you for taxes. So be very careful with that. All right, having said that, one more time, let's get to it. So the best states are easily, most lawyers will agree, there's a lot of different opinions out there, but most lawyers will agree, it's going to be Delaware, Wyoming, and surprising shock, New Mexico. Okay, New Mexico is coming up. All right, we're going to discuss Delaware first. Delaware is cheap formation. All right, so it's $90, $110 formation, basically with a certificate. Then you've got, I think I'm gonna hop in here. I'm gonna hop in my car because I'm about to get wet. I'm about to get wet. Excuse me. It's a lovely, cool day. All right. So, all right. To continue, Delaware, cheap formation, about $100. Then you got about $300 maintenance for the LLC every year. Registered agent, you know, it's not much. The benefits you get are plentiful. Delaware is well known as pretty much the best state for any entity formation, corporate, LLC, whatever. Corporations have different tax structure. It can be inexpensive or it can be very expensive. It depends on the shares, depends on the par value. There's a couple of ways to assess the value of the shares, but corporations are taxed on the value of their shares. So you got to be careful with that, how you structure the formation for corporations. But I'm just talking about LLCs right now. LLCs is a flat $300 every year. You get the benefit of the best laws in the country from Delaware. All right, you get a special business court that has been in charge of business disputes, this business litigation for hundreds of years. You can't do any better. There's absolute protection. There's no income tax. Very strong liability protection. I mean, basically cheap. And this is as close to going offshore as being offshore, Delaware. I mean, it's almost anonymous formation. So it's an excellent, excellent state. Over 60% of Fortune 500 companies and over 50% of publicly traded companies are organized in Delaware. There's a reason for that. If you're going to raise capital from outside investors, that is the state to be. They all want to see Delaware corporations, LLCs, less so, but still, you can definitely raise capital with LLCs. You know, there's nothing preventing you. But if you're going to have a lot of shareholders, then you might as well go the corporations route. So that's fine. It just really depends on your specific situation. So Delaware is number one. And additionally, Delaware is the state where I prefer to have the primary holding company for most business ventures. All right, this is the multi-LLC structure that I just discussed. Okay, so Delaware would be the home base for a holding company that owns other LLCs. Now, other states, next we go to Wyoming. Wyoming is second best. Wyoming created LLCs. 1977, the first state to form LLCs. LLCs, as you may know, are a hybrid between a limited partnership and a corporation. Pretty much all the benefits and very few of the drawbacks, almost none. Wyoming is an excellent state, excellent laws, excellent asset protection. You can get total anonymity if you do it right. Very inexpensive. It's about $100 to form the company. And it's $50 every year, maintenance, plus the registered agent, so it's very cheap. So it's a great state for smaller businesses, for closely held companies, family businesses, that kind of thing. So excellent asset protection laws. Again, they don't have a specific court like Delaware, and they don't have most of Wall Street in Wyoming, but it is still an excellent state. So again, Delaware, Wyoming, no state income tax on outside foreign residents who have companies there. Only if you live there. Wyoming has recently created this weird close LLC thing, which I'm not a fan of. Pretty much, it doesn't really give you anything that you can get from your operating agreement that's drafted properly. So I don't see any point in that. It seems like a marketing gimmick. So whatever. Next, let's talk about New Mexico. New Mexico is an up-and-comer. All right, a lot of people are gonna recommend Nevada. Nevada is not on my list any longer, unfortunately. Hate to break it to you. So it used to be on my list maybe 10 years ago. Now, there's no point. There's no point. They want disclosure. So they want disclosure of the member, of the governance. They have high fees. It's like 400 something bucks, you know, including the registered agent. What's the point of that? New Mexico, $50. $50. You get an LLC, no annual fees, forever. That's it. Boom, you're set. Very easy. Totally anonymous. Absolutely anonymous. This is the best state for throwaway shell companies. All right? For companies that you don't really need. You just use for a certain purpose and boom, throw them away. If there's a, threat afoot, so you just toss them aside. Very cheap, very easy. You have a bunch of these companies lying around and you can use them as you need to do. So the reason New Mexico is not top on the list is because their laws. All right, so what is a charging order? A charging order is a judgment that a creditor gets against the LLC interest of a member. All right, the charging order is the sole remedy in Delaware and Wyoming. So that means a creditor that gets a judgment against a member can only get a charging order. They present the charging order to the LLC, and then the LLC has to pay any distributions that go to the debtor to the creditor. All right, that money should go to the creditor. There's a lot of ways to get around it. It's total bullshit. But anyway, that's basically it. The sole remedy. They can't foreclose on the interest. They can't force sale. They can't participate in management. They are pretty much, they're not going to get paid. I mean, they can get paid a few bucks. That's it. A couple of dollars, maybe, if that. But New Mexico does not provide that a charging order is the exclusive remedy. All right. So that means New Mexico can potentially order foreclosure of a member's interest. That means they can order the sale of company assets. So that's kind of a risky situation. It's unclear. The law is unclear, statutory law is unclear, case law is unclear, so we don't know. So that's why I don't recommend it as a main holding entity that owns the entire business, that has a bunch of assets, etc. It's more like a throwaway entity state. All right, so because of that risk, it's really uncertain. So they need to fix that. Then it'll be a much better state. So having said that, basically, single-member LLCs will get less protection than multi-member LLCs because the law is generally protecting other members from the creditors of the debtor member. All right, so, well, a debtor member is a debtor, and we don't want the other members to suffer and to have to sell the assets of the business that is in the entity because of that debtor member. But if there's only one member, then there's nobody else to protect. So basically, there's less protection, usually, in most states. Not in Delaware, not in Wyoming. But you should understand that if you're a person, a human owner, a human member of an LLC, you may get less protection from a court if you are a debtor. So that is why I utilize multi-LLC structures. So that forces an up-the-chain type of situation where a creditor gets a judgment, then he's got to go enforce it in a different state, and then in a different state where the member, yada, yada. It's very difficult, it's time-consuming, it's risky, people don't really do it. I mean, you got to pierce the veil, it's a pain in the ass. So, you really need to speak to a professional as far as organizing a really solid asset protection structure, and that's why I said a single LLC will rarely do the job for most businesses. All right, sometimes yes, usually no. So, okay, having said that, again, charging order, you need to understand what that is. That's a judgment that a creditor gets. Single member LLCs get less protection. The three best states, Delaware, Wyoming, New Mexico. I'm probably going to do another video on the worst states, but I mean, I can just tell you right now, it's not that complicated. It's going to be California, New York, and Nevada. I mean, New York's got this unbelievable bullshit requirement. You got to pay like $2,000 to publish in a newspaper for like 8 weeks the formation of the company. It's insane. It's absolutely ludicrous. It's a payoff graft, to their friends. Otherwise, you can't sue. You can form the company, but you can't sue in New York. So to sue, you gotta do the publication bullshit. California also, it's a mess. Anyway, we'll talk about that another time. But I've had questions why I don't upload more frequently. Simple, I have a law practice. Okay, I'm a full-time practicing attorney. It's busy. I'm a 7-day full-time practicing lawyer. I have a lot of work. It's a pain in the butt. It's time-consuming to record these videos, to write this stuff out, research it, blah blah, and so I put as little time as possible into this stuff because there's no return. There's zero return, okay? I'm doing this as a public service, okay? And that's it. So, okay, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoy your 4th. Stay safe. Don't blow your fucking arm off. And, God bless America.